Alright, y'all. Hello and welcome. We are taking a look at obscure European cars that Americans don't know about, and these ones just happen to be vehicles rather that are 25 years or older, strictly for the spin that these can be imported now to the U.S. Right? You can import cars from other countries as long as they're over 25 years old. So I think that's going to be pretty fun. Like, the world of cars abroad is just so fun and fascinating. I'm like a kid in a candy store when we look at this kind of stuff. And like always, it blows my mind how many different vehicles you guys actually have that we just totally missed out on. So let's start the list. Go ahead and go here. You see the first vehicle. This is the Peel P50. Now, this is absolutely hilarious. I need y'all to really tell me straight up. This right here. This was a street legal vehicle. Is that correct? Years ago, I bought a used, literally, golf cart for some property management, right? We have a big yard, and, it's useful. It has a little, pickup truck bed on the back. And that golf cart, is not street legal where I'm at. Because, of course, it's not a car. It's not a vehicle. It literally has bigger wheels and more robust, frame and components than this thing, right? This thing is hilarious. It's adorable. It's a joke. In the land of literal, Tonka trucks and land yachts, yeah, this is hilarious to me. But I wonder what this is like. I'm pretty sure I would not fit in this. My only even reference to this, like the only time I would have ever seen this, is definitely not in person, but I remember seeing this, I believe, on a Top Gear episode back in the day. And if I remember right, wasn't Jeremy Clarkson literally driving this in a building, like in an office building? Yeah, that's how small this is. I think it's actually hilarious. I think it's wild, and I don't know how it's legal because... if you get hit by someone that's not paying attention, how does that go? I like how it mentions that the marketing back when it came out in 1962 claimed that it was big enough for one adult and a shopping bag. So there you go. If you're going somewhere, you want to go shopping, you're only going to get one bag of stuff. There's your vehicle. It doesn't get better than the Peel P50. And real quick before we move on, it actually came from a German company, DKW. I didn't actually know that. I thought it was like a British car. It actually says it was like a British car, but it's maybe from a German company. Who knows? You guys can sort that out. But that's pretty cool. I'm going to look up and see how much these are even worth. Look at that thing. Oh, my goodness. This is hilarious. I'll take you to this view. Wow. Look, someone has one in the USA. I can't believe it. They are braver than I. There is one in Illinois, where I'm at. Trident blue and white. Oh my goodness. Is this a fucking convertible? This is ridiculous. They're everywhere. Qatar, California, Canberra, Australia. Of course, the UK. Oh, wow. I mean, yeah, look at them. They're literally driving these in hallways. Look at this. You can buy a new one, and it's $10,000. No freaking way. That is literally more than I spent on a golf cart. But I guess this would... can someone make sense of this? I got to say it. How is this street legal, but my golf cart isn't? I mean, I guess this has got mirrors. It's got a windshield wiper. It's got lights. I guess this is safer and more legit. It's even got a VIN number. How cute. $10,000. That is absolutely legendary. Wow. That is just hilarious. This is a self-build kit. So how interesting that these came out a long time ago. And apparently, you can probably find old used ones from the 60s and 70s or whatever. Or... you can literally just buy a new one, and it's a kit you have to put together. That is actually so fascinating. Kind of hilarious, too. A little more expensive than I would like. I was hoping if this was $2 or $3 grand, maybe I'll buy one. Maybe I'll buy one for a video. That would be amazing. But I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not rolling in it like that. I can't just drop a 10 grand on that thing, on a Peel P50. That is hilarious. All right, moving on. I'm sorry we spent so much time on that, but what a fascinating vehicle. I mean, this combined with an American, what do you expect? All right, we have a Morgan Plus 8. Now, I actually like this thing. I don't know much about it, but I'm saying my first impression is I like this, you know, at least this is a homage to a previous era in design, right? These swooping fenders like that. These cars just flowed and looked like they were, you know, kind of pushing the air around them even as they were sitting still. That's what I like about this. So this is really cool. This one shown in the pictures apparently in 1970. I don't know what years these were made up until, but yeah, if it's from the 60s or 70s, of course it would be able to be imported here because it's more than old enough. This mentions they're referring to the original version. There is newer versions apparently, even up to 2018, but those wouldn't be legal here because I'm very sure they don't sell these here new. Sadly, another car I feel like I probably would not fit in. For reference, I don't know how tall I am in meters or centimeters, so bear with me. In, you know, American units, I am 6 feet, let's say 6 feet 4 inches. I think I'm 6'3", but you know, with shoes, if I'm outside, maybe 6 foot 4 inches, right? So I'm pretty tall, and I feel like this car would be very tight, unfortunately. I feel like my head would be above the windscreen, and well, what good is that? Next, we have this. Now, I can totally vibe with this. I love hot hatches. I wish they were bigger here in the U.S. Bigger as in, like, more popular. We had some eras with hot hatches, just never even scratched the surface in popularity when it, you know, compared to what y'all had in Europe, the car scene. So, yeah, this is a Renault Clio Williams. Now, is this Williams referring to, like, the racing Williams? Yeah, despite its Formula One inspired name. Okay, that's really cool. Sadly, the Williams team was not involved with the car's development, according to this. I thought maybe they had collabed with the Clio here, but apparently not. It's just inspired by them. That's okay. It looks sharp, right? It's really small, but not small in a bad way. Like, it's not like the first two cars. This is still a hot hatch, decent size. It's just, you know what I mean? It's a smaller, nimble car. I like it. I like this color scheme, actually. This very handsome shade of blue with some gold wheels. It's got a good stance. I love it. Peak, you know, 90s hot hatch. I know this thing's got to be in the manual for sure. You know, probably a little 4-cylinder, right? Yeah, 2-liter, 16-valve, inline-4, 145 horsepower. You know, it's probably got, you know, good suspension. 0-60 in 7.5 seconds. That's really good, actually. This is a light vehicle, I'm assuming. And so it handles good. You can zip around in this, and it's just going to feel, you know, it's going to have great steering. It's going to have, you know, hopefully a nice clutch and nice gearing. This is going to be a blast to drive. I'm all about this. All right, I'm going to look this car up for sale. So let's go back to this screen. Here's one on Bring a Trailer, which I'm assuming was sold in the U.S. or Canada. And there we have it. This thing looks sharp. Absolutely sharp. But look at how much, though. 1995 Renault Clio Williams S2. Same color scheme. Absolutely love it. Sold for $11,300 US. Wow, it's a little steeper than I would have thought. But you know what? Not a bad deal, honestly. Wow. Sometimes I think, you know, because I have multiple vehicles, I'm a car guy, right? Us car guys fall into this sometimes. Sometimes I do throw the idea around, just selling a bunch of vehicles and getting something like this. Thoughts? That would be so freaking cool. It'd be so cool for me, for my experience. It'd be so cool for the channel. It'd be so cool to be driving around in this, and 98% of Americans would have no idea what this is. They'd think it was like, you know, a debadged Honda Civic or something. Come on, let's get real, right? This thing is awesome. I love the interior, too. Very simple. Kind of like that Skoda I drove, although this is a little newer. Yeah, I like it. Obviously, with any of these, let me know your thoughts and your comments. If you've gotten to drive one of these, you remember these, maybe you own or owned one of these, that would be really exciting. I would love to hear about it. Here we have the Fiat Coupé. Fiat is something that's so interesting because now we have Fiats for the last about 10 years, maybe a little more, in the U.S. after not having them for a long time. But we only get a couple models, right? And what I've learned is Fiat makes tons and tons of different vehicles, and we just don't get most of them here in the U.S. So it's like we have Fiat, but we really don't, if that makes sense, right? Because the U.S. car market's so weird and so limited. This, I've never seen in my life. Pretty sure we didn't get these. This is the Fiat Coupé debuted in 1993 at the Bologna, is that Bologna? Motor Show, and remained in production until 2000. That's awesome. We can actually import 2001 vehicles from anywhere. So specifically, a little challenge for the comments. Name an amazing import, a fun car that an American could import from 2001. And it could be from anywhere, from, Asian countries, Europe, wherever, right? That would be interesting. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. My first impressions, I like this. This is cool. You can tell it's 90s, but it's like Euro 90s. And I love it, man. Like the only thing I can even think of that was similar to this, not similar, but like distant vibe, is like we had a Mercury Cougar around this time. There was older ones that looked more like kind of like a Mustang and more boxy. And then by the late 90s or early 2000s, we had a Mercury Cougar that sort of was this shape, right? But not the same. Don't get mad at me. They're not the same at all. This looks arguably a little better. It actually looks a little more weird, but I like it better. That's what I meant to say. I mean, this is cool. These actually came in turbocharged versions. So I'm thinking this with a turbocharged engine and a manual transmission. I'm assuming this is front wheel drive. That's a pretty fun car, right? That's a really, really fun car. I would love to hear from anyone that's had these before. Yeah, here's some for sale. Now, these are in different countries. This is in Sydney, Australia. Not sold. Okay. Birmingham, Great Britain. 35,000 miles? That's low. Holy smokes. This sold for 11,000 pounds, or I'm assuming this is US dollars, 14,821 US dollars. Wow, that's really cool. Here's one that sold in Stockholm for about 12,000 US dollars. Really, really cool. So again, that's kind of the sweet spot. Basically, if I have like, let's say 9 to like 13 grand, I can buy a pretty fun, smaller, sporty European car from a different country, literally, like imported. I like that. I will keep that in mind. Here, this one actually went for a lot less. I wonder why some of these went for less. Like this one only went for 5,000 pounds, this red one. But a lot of these other ones went for more. Then again, the silver one from Italy went for 1,900. Okay, $2,000, 1,900 euros. Okay. Is there a reason this would be so cheap? If it's just because of the mileage, that doesn't scare me. I've had plenty of high mile cars. Now we're talking. Anyone have any advice on how to import things, how much that costs, and how to do it safely in the correct way? I'm all ears. I would be interested in this. I would totally do that. Let's go. Let's keep the views up. I can maybe pull this off. I got to find something fun like this. That would be amazing. Perhaps someday we'll do a live stream where we look at cars and we can talk about how we can do this. All right. I like the Fiat Coupé. I like it a lot. I think I could fit in it. I don't think that would be a big deal. Wow. I like this even better. Is this a sister car? God, it's got a really similar line there on the side, doesn't it? You'll have to let me know if this is a sister car or if it's just a competitor that, they look similar. I don't remember, or know if Fiat and Alfa Romeo, I guess they are kind of partnered, right? Or Alfa Romeo is part of Fiat. If they are, then these could totally be sister cars. And while I like the Fiat, I got to admit, this looks even better for me. Maybe not to some people. I like the wheels. I've always liked the Alfa Romeo, how they kind of do that triangular grille with their awesome logo, and then like the kind of small circular headlights. I think it's a unique look. It's not for everyone, maybe, but I like it. This looks like a lot of fun. This one was able to come with a V6. Now, this car and a V6, I'm actually, dare I say, I think a naturally aspirated V6 can sometimes feel more powerful, or at least feel more torquey, and be more pleasant to drive than even a turbocharged 4. I know Turbo 4s can end up making more power and all that, but V6s just have like a grunt to them. And a V6, even a small displacement V6 in a smaller, lighter vehicle, in my experience, is extremely fun to drive. Very engaging. And it's still a V6, even if it's small. It pulls a car quite well. I like this a lot. Now moving on to the TVR Cerbera? Wow. We've looked at a TVR long ago, and I never got to follow up on it, which is what I have to change. We got to go hard on actually bringing episodes back where we deep dive into certain vehicles, or certain brands, right? TVR just looks incredible. I don't know much about them. I think they were a British brand, and it looks like they just had these beautiful, really wild and different designs. And from what I understand from you guys, they slapped some high horsepower in there. And, these things were kind of like over here what the Viper would have been. Like lots of power, big engines, no, nanny controls, right? No 3-stage traction controls, the stability controls. Like, nope, it's just you, the engine, and the wheels. Good luck. And you know what? I respect that. This would be a lot of fun. This was from 96 to 2006. There are 5 model years worth, eligible for import here. Okay, yada, yada. Power came from the Speed 8 V8, which was available in 3 variants, 4.2, 4.5, and 4.7 liter versions. Wow, that's very interesting. 3 V8s. Now that's weird. I would never see that in a car market over here. Why 3 different V8s? Very interesting. Let's look these up. I love it. I know I would like this. I mean, who wouldn't, right? I feel like this might be out of my price range, though. We're talking over 400 horsepower, by the way. This was sold on Bring Your Trailer. Let's see. So some of these sold in the U.S. That's cool to see. And these are definitely out of my price range. Dang it. There's a red one. Okay, that is a... I don't know what y'all's thoughts on TVRs are. This is a 4.2, so this is the smallest engine. I don't know if that even matters. I mean, I'm assuming they're all pretty good. Yeah, I think this car is sexy. I do. I like this a lot. Look at that car, man. Whoa! What is with that interior? Okay, this is from 1997? Okay, this is awesome. What the hell's going on with the steering wheel? Are there gauges on the steering wheel? I don't know what's going on. This is so freaking cool. 220 mile per hour speedometer. Is that all? And an 8,000 RPM tachometer. What is this thing? What kind of screaming machine is this? Wow, British cars I've noticed can be very pleasantly surprising. Very shocking. Where you're like, okay, y'all know what's up. I like the almost clamshell hood. You get a lot of access here. Although it's a very kind of odd engine bay, right? What's this red part in between the engine and the fans? I don't know. This is cool, man. I like it. I like it a lot. Look at it in the mags. Wow, what a vehicle. Take a look at this thing. Right? Wow. What a car. That would turn so many heads. I think most Americans would think this is probably a kit car, which you don't even see those often. But anything that's weird is usually a kit car. One of those weird cars from small companies that you can order and you got to put together in your garage or whatever. All right, moving on. I absolutely love that. We have a Renault Clio RS 172. So many different Renaults, and I know just nothing about them because Americans don't know, right? We don't get these. But I feel like they've probably made so many fun and iconic hot hatches, smaller vehicles. Now, I believe RS is, that means business, right? That's the trim level. It says Renault Sport. So if it's an RS model, that means it is definitely the sporty one. The 172 comes from the power output. Okay. 172 PS. I don't even know what that is, or 170 horsepower. Now, this is another 2-liter 16-valve inline-4, 5-speed manual gearbox. An absolutely tried and true combination. Can't go wrong with a 2-liter and a 5-speed, right? Especially in a light car. This thing's going to be zippy. It's going to be fun to rev. And I would be all about this. You know what's cool is, we're talking about older vehicles. This is a 2000, right? That's, I hate to admit it because I feel like 2000 was like yesterday. But that's old, right? That's 26 years old. And these things are hot hatches, and they're, we're talking about the late 90s here. And these things had, the custom upholstered interiors, the logos. They had leather and Alcantara, like side airbags. These are things I hate to admit, but I feel like the U.S. wasn't getting fancy interiors like that unless you were getting expensive, bigger vehicles. And we're talking more towards like 2008, 2007, not like 99, 98. Like that was more extremely rare, maybe even unheard of back then. I don't remember ever seeing like a small hatch in the U.S. that having such a, high quality materials in them. I think, again, that's really cool. You look at like a Dodge Neon, I guess is what I'm saying, and you look at this. This is, it brings more to the table. Now, this is fascinating. I'm thinking, wait, this is just a Jetta because we had this body style Jetta in the U.S., but it's not. It's a Volkswagen Bora VR5. So I'm all confused because Bora, what the hell is that? But it says the Bora was equivalent of the Jetta in the U.S. So it was called the Jetta here. Again, I don't know why companies do that. They all do it. It's not like, singling out VW. They all do it. I wonder why it was called the Jetta here. But yeah, I've always liked Jettas. I thought they're pretty cool. I've came so close to buying Jettas at multiple points in my life. I just never have. I've wanted to, though. And we're talking about probably US spec Jettas. But I think they're a great, fun kind of, blend of everything, daily driver type of car. This one's a little more than that, though. This one has a 2.3-liter narrow angle 5-cylinder. So I'm thinking VR5. In my head, I'm like, I don't know what that is. I know what the VR6 is. That's a legendary engine. Very cool concept, right? And very sought after. They're hard to find, at least here in the States. I'll be honest, I've never heard of a VR5. So how's that even work? Because that's an odd number of cylinders, but it's in a V. Now it's a narrow V, but it's still a V. So that's kind of interesting. I didn't know there was a VR5. I knew there was a VR6. And like it says, we definitely did not get a Jetta with the VR5 here. So this looks actually like it's really cool. Just out of curiosity, let's see if, I can even find anything on this. So I don't know if there's any sales of these. Yeah, just as I suspected, I'm not even seeing any of these for sale. It's gonna look at it's pulling up. It's pulling up Volkswagen Jettas for sale in Illinois and Wisconsin and stuff. It's not even pulling up the correct thing. That is absolutely hilarious. Wow. All right, and then moving on, we have the Opel Speedster. Now this thing is cool. Let's see. Opel was okay in the UK. It was the Vauxhall VX220. Everyone else in Europe, it was the Opel Speedster. It arrived in 2000. Had joint development with the second generation of Lotus Elise. Wow, because I've heard of the Lotus Elise and we got those in the States, but this I don't believe we did. Right? I feel like I've seen this maybe in like a video game back in the day, but I don't remember ever seeing this on the streets here. It's pretty cool looking. It looks really small, kind of like a Miata. Don't know if I'd fit in it correctly, but I'd be open to trying. Now, what's interesting is the Speedster used a 2.2 Ecotec engine borrowed from the Opel Vauxhall Astra. Fun fact, I still have it. I don't drive it much lately, but in some of my videos, I've done IRL videos, and I showed me driving a manual transmission because it's rare here, but I'm a proud American that does drive them, and most Americans can't. I have a manual transmission small SUV called a Saturn Vue that was actually shared a lot of stuff with German Opel, actually. By that time, Saturn and Buick were like rebadged Opels, essentially, for GM. It uses a German, manual transmission, for example, and the engine is literally this. It is literally the 2.2 Ecotec. That is the same engine I have in my 2004 Saturn Vue SUV. So that is pretty interesting. I actually like that engine. I think it revs nice. I think it sounds good. And I feel like it would pull a lot harder than it does in mine in a car like this. Whoa, now we're getting into some serious toys. A Noble M12. This thing looks fast. Wow, this is another British sports car. Damn, British sports cars are the real deal. This went into production in 2000. It looks newer than that, so that's pretty impressive. It had an American element in the form of its engine. It had a Ford Duratec V6. Now, how fascinating is this? I would have thought for sure this was like a V8. But that's kind of cool. A Duratec V6, and those can be modded quite well. People do that even here with some models that came with that. So this is limited availability. It wasn't really sold here. I guess there was a different version, like a sister car to this called the Roscian Q1 that was sold here, but this was not. But now you can import them because they're old enough. That's really interesting. I'll look at the price. I know I can't afford this, guys. So let's laugh. Let's see the first one. Here we go. 52 grand. Wow. Yeah, that's expensive. I got to say, though, this might be not the exact same model. But it's close enough. I mean, this thing is really freaking cool. It's a twin turbo V6 in this one. Wow. That car just screams fun. You know this thing would be amazing to toss around corners and to just stab the throttle. You know, this thing's going to hook and just put you in your seat, right? I mean, this is a light vehicle. Wow. That looks like a lot of fun. And that's going to end it for this one. That just scratches the surface. I know there's so many awesome cars from European car markets and countries. I absolutely love it, man. You know, I'm a car guy through and through. I like, you know, American muscle. I like, you know, big trucks still. I do see a use for them, even though most of the world laughs. I get it, but I still like them. But I'm not one of those American guys that's like, oh, we're the best and everyone else sucks. No, there is some awesome and arguably, you know, better cars in different countries, I should say. So yeah, you guys know that. This was a fascinating list. I think it was actually pretty good. A good range, right? From a Noble sports car, an M12, to a Peel P50. So it's pretty wild ends of the spectrum there. But yeah, I found this very fascinating, and I got to keep an eye out for cars like this. We'll be doing much more car content, as I hinted at last week. I got to do some more deep dives into some of these and learn about, well, just as much as I can about European cars, because I find them quite fascinating. I love the different flavors from British cars, French cars, German cars, and beyond that, right? They do have their own design language, their own features, different emphasis on handling and power. I think it's awesome. I appreciate you watching. I really do look forward to the comments, and I hope to see you in the next one. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, y'all. Catch you later.